Welcome back to Technology Behind Business. Well, the financial and professional services industries have been slow to use social media to engage with clients. My next guest says that's because for advisors, the foundation of their products is a relationship with their clients based on trust, not on brand. Now, Baz Gardner used to be an advisor himself, but is now running a business called The Social Advisor, which he says is a new way of doing business for financial advisors in general. He joins me now in our Macquarie Park studios. Baz, welcome to the program today. Now, if you think social media is so great and there are so many benefits, why aren't financial advisors or FSI in general, why aren't they using it now?
I think there's fundamentally a misconception about what the tools actually do and what they provide. And the reason is I think there's kind of three stages to what I call the socialization of business. And the first stage is where the early adopters, which are marketers and advertisers, have come in and found a new way to promote themselves. And the second stage is what we're seeing at the moment, where large companies are kind of making their businesses more focused around the customer. So listening and responding. If you want something fixed with Telstra now, you're best to go to Twitter. But the third stage of the socialization of business is really about relationship management at scale. It's about engaging with your customers on a much more personal basis, where it's not just the client at the middle, but it's the professional. And so where we're seeing the revolution coming about is in the fact that it's not something new for professionals, and we're talking specifically about advisors here. It's about relationship management and trust building. It's just the tools are now so great that you can do it twice as effectively.
So tell me then, that sounds good in theory, but let's go to the practical. What do you think a financial advisor should be doing? Is this as simple as setting up a Twitter account?
No, I think it's fundamentally about changing your philosophy about we're professionals. So our clients are over there and we're over here, and we try not to get too personal about how we interact. Whereas if you've got the tools of social media, you can kind of bring your clients into being, a connected, close relationship. And so they'll talk about what you're doing. They'll refer you. They'll share their ideas about what you're doing for their lives. And it becomes so transparent that your ideal clients just come to you, and the relationship's already built without you having to go out and do your traditional networking or promotional marketing.
So it's not about stalking your customers on social media?
Absolutely not.
Right.
No, it's about engaging people, forming relationships.
What about this idea that I hear from a lot of finance professionals, that social media is fluff, it's hype, and there are so many social media consultants out there now shopping their wares out, and there's no real benefit. What kind of dollar return do you think people can see if they invest their time in these tools?
So we built a beta program to really empower other professionals to change their mindset, to engage clients, and not just engage new business, but also to service them. So it's as much about relationship service efficiency as it is about referral generation and business growth. And so we surveyed our first year early adopters through our program, and what we found was that for the average return for new business, it was nearly $60,000 per advisor, but that the efficiency in how they were servicing clients was actually more than the $60,000 of new business growth, because you can reach and communicate so much better.
Can you give a practical example of an advisor or a firm that's maybe adopted some of these practices and has got a benefit?
Yeah, I'll just give you one quick example. One of my favourite students, David Ray. So he was on Twitter and he saw one of his clients, and he advises them around all of their finances. And he saw this client tweet about the fact that his young 4-year-old daughter had just been diagnosed with a pretty severe, potentially critical illness. And the client was talking about how concerned he was, and so David was able to see this on Twitter, go to the client's Tumblr, find out what had actually happened, and they were worried about their finances and how were they going to treat this and what they were going to do. And David was able to reach out to the client and say, hey, don't forget, we already took care of this. We already had an insurance policy in place for your daughter.
So it is about stalking your clients on social media?
Well, it's not stalking, it's engaging. But I guess it's how you look at it.
Right.
If you want to be there servicing your clients when they need help, then yeah, that's stalking.
Well, I was going to say, how financially or how tech savvy then are most of your clients? Because I would think that people engaging in these services would generally be of an older generation, maybe 50 plus, maybe not on Twitter and not on social media platforms. So aren't you really only targeting a very small niche of people who are tech savvy and are putting these things on Twitter?
Yeah, look, I would say Twitter's just one example. In my former business, we dealt exclusively with high net wealth, pre-retiree and retiree clients.
Right.
And our social media was email in conjunction with video. So we're using video to communicate with our clients, to tell stories, to talk about them, about what they were passionate about. And so email in that context, when your clients will share the video with everyone, is social media.
So what would your one tip be? If there's any financial advisors watching today, what would your one piece of advice be to them if they wanted to get started with something like this?
I think my one piece of advice would be, don't be afraid. This is actually what you've always done. It's always been about relationship management. So ignore all the hype and all the confusion that's out there, because it's not about that. It's just a new way of communicating with clients, just like email was, 15 years ago.
But it is a bit bigger, right? Because email is a private tool, but social media, there can be consequences of using that.
Absolutely. The efficiencies are far greater, and of course there's risk as well. So learn about it, get empowered. And if you want to learn more, experience what relationship building is and connect to me on LinkedIn. So that's Baz Gardner.
Bit of a plug there. All right, Baz, thanks for your time today.
A pleasure.